Good evening, community members. Welcome to this evening's first of 8 candidate forums. I'm Linda Barton. I'm the chair of the League of Women Voters of Fremont County. The League is pleased to host this series of candidate forums during the 2022 election season. The League of Women Voters of Fremont County is a nonpartisan grassroots organization and part of the state and national League of Women Voters. It believes voters should play a critical role in democracy, and it encourages active and informed government participation. The League is dedicated to voter education and voting rights and providing information that helps voters make informed decisions at the polls. The League of Women Voters was founded in the winter of 2020 by a group of local citizens who wanted to promote our free and open election process. Over 90 community members participated in town hall meetings and answered a survey to determine how the League should promote elections across Fremont County. Community members come together to determine the questions being asked tonight. The League does not endorse or support any candidate running for office. The League distributes unbiased candidate information through our election guide, mailed to over 18,000 households just this election season alone, all in Fremont County. Our Be a Voter guide informs the citizens of Fremont County on many ways to register to vote and how to request an absentee ballot. Copies of both of these publications are available at the entrance table. If you want to add your name to our listserv, please sign up at our table in the lobby. And also please visit our Facebook page. We like likes. For information about our local elections, we are hosting 7 additional forums. House District 54 forum at 6 p.m. on October 6th, along with, that will be at the Lander Library Carnegie Room at 6 p.m. On Friday, October 7th, right here at LVHS, the Lander Mayor and City Council forums will take place at 6 p.m. On October 13th, we will host the Riverton Mayor and House District 55 forums at the Riverton Library at 6 p.m. The final set of forums, House District 33, will be held on Sunday, October 16th at the Frank B. Weiss Center in Fort Washakie at 5:30, and on Monday, October 17th at the Carnegie Room here in Lander at 6 p.m. as well. The League will spend over $12,000 on election education this season. Please consider a donation to the League through our website and the donation bowl on the entrance table. We invite you to join the League of Women Voters of Fremont County. Grab one of our brochures on the entrance table to become a member, or visit us at www.leagueofwomenvotersfc.org for more information. We want to take this opportunity to thank Nate Shoutis for video recording this forum. Thank you, Nate. And County 10, as well as WYO Today, for hosting the video. Additionally, we thank Julie Cornea of Black Dog Design and Ann Austin of Austin Design for their graphic design work. Western Printing for mailing the election guide across the county. Our local donors who financially supporting the printing and mailing of the general election guide to all Fremont County households. To our county clerk, Julie Fries, and the Fremont County Election Office for providing guidance and information over the past few months and registering voters this evening. There is a table out in the front lobby. If you haven't registered, or if you need to change your registration, you can do so with Margie Irvine sitting out in the lobby. And I want to thank the Committee of Community Members and to the Fremont County League of Women Voter Board. Kate Foster, Jackie Hediger, Debbie Larson, Sophie Kormanicki, Nancy Pirapan, Catherine Primrose, Barbara Townsend, and especially to Michelle Escudero for her advice and contribution. Also, visit the table at the entrance where our county clerk's office will be happy to help you there. Finally, we want to thank all of you, the school board candidates, for running for this office. It is not easy, and it takes a lot of effort, and I applaud you all for doing so. It means a great deal to our democracy to have candidates step forward. Just regular citizens just come on forward and run for local elections. With that, please welcome our moderator for tonight's forum, Ann Magnan, who will discuss the guidelines and begin tonight's event. Following tonight's event, we have some light refreshments in the lobby for you to enjoy and also to mingle with the candidates if you have further questions or ideas that you want to share with them. So thank you for joining us tonight, and let's get started.
Hi. That's why we test sound. Good evening. We are going to take a hot second to just make certain that all the mics on the candidates' tables work. So make new friends. If you haven't met the person who's sitting in front of you or behind you, turn around and introduce yourselves. They could be your present neighbor or your new neighbor, and we'll make certain the sound works, and then I'll kick it off. Okay. Oh, this one? Okay. Good evening. I may be 5'2", but I can be pretty loud. I'll work my best to be loud enough for the person in the center of the back. You tell me if you can't hear me, okay? We'll keep those mics on. What they say is much more important this evening than what I say. So, my name is Ann. I'm going to be your moderator and yeller of the evening. When the League of Women Voters of Fremont County asked me to moderate this forum, I was really excited for the opportunity. I firmly believe our democracy is based on our responsibility and right to vote. I'm really pleased to be here with you this evening, or those people on the camera. Our goal tonight is to give all the candidates an opportunity to share their thoughts and ideas with you, the voters. Tonight we have 10 candidates running for Fremont County School District No. 1 School Board. This serves Lander, Hudson, Atlantic City, Sweetwater, Jeffrey City, and areas in between. This is a nonpartisan election. As Linda mentioned, we're being videotaped by Nate. This video will be available on County 10, WYO Today, as well as the Fremont County League of Women Voters website. I'm now going to give you the directions. It's more important that they know the directions, but just so you have a sense of what's coming this evening. We're going to kick off with a 2-minute prepared opening statement on the microphones that work for the 10 candidates. We're then going to follow with 3 rounds that each have 2 questions. We have divided the candidates into 2 groups. So in round 1, 5 candidates will answer 1 question, the other 5 candidates will answer the other question. The group who designed this forum just randomly picked people via an internet generator. You can tell us whether or not the internet worked in your favor or not after the forum. So we'll do 3 rounds of that, 2 questions each. We're then going to have the 1-word lightning round. Each candidate will be given a word and 15 seconds to respond to that word. They can respond to the word with 1 word or as many words as they want to fill those 15 seconds. Each candidate's going to be given a total of 2 words. The idea with this round is to hear what assumptions and associations each candidate makes when given a simple prompt. Following the lightning round is the participation section. It's the audience question round. You've all been given index cards. If you haven't, wave something around and someone will bring you an index card. Feel free to write down any questions you have. Volunteers will review and choose 2 questions for the audience round. Half the candidates, again, will respond to the first question, and the other half will respond to the second question. Your fate is in their hands. Finally, we'll give each candidate a minute to give us a closing statement that they haven't had a chance to prepare. So it's their chance to leave you with some thoughts as you take what they've said and you've read to the voting box or the voting hallway, depending on when you vote. I want to acknowledge that we all have lots of opinions about who should be on school boards and what school boards should do. So I'm confident you're going to hear some things that you totally agree with, and you're going to hear some things that you don't. We really ask that you refrain from any live commentary as people speak, so they can keep focused on giving you their message. People who are watching this after the fact are welcome to make any comments they want in the safety of their own home. Some folks may have thought this started at 6, and we're almost at 6 now. But if somebody comes in and sits next to you and says, oh my gosh, I thought it started at 6, can you just remind them it's being filmed and they can watch it later? And when you watch it, you can watch it on double time speed and we'll all sound like chipmunks. It'll be very exciting. Team, any questions before we start? Okay. We're gonna cross our fingers and our toes, but not our intestines, that all your mics work. Okay, all right. So we're gonna kick it off with opening statements. Again, this is 2 minutes each per person. And Maureen, you're up first.
Let's see if this works. If anybody can't hear me, raise your hand. I'm 5'2" and I can speak loudly as well. I'm Maureen Donahue Howell. I'm running for school board because I believe that children are our most precious resource. Like the framers of the Wyoming Constitution in Article 1, Section 23, I believe that every child in the state of Wyoming has a fundamental right to an equal quality education. Every child, every day means no child is invisible. No parent needs to explain why their child matters. At every grade level, parents, guardians, teachers, school staff, peers, administrators, and the greater Fremont County community are education resources. I'm committed to finding every way these resources can and are used to ensure that every child is given the tools they need to succeed along with their peers. Every child should know that our community is filled with adults who find joy in every task they master, every obstacle they overcome, every new discovery they make and they share. I'm the mother of 6 adult children, a grandmother of 11, a graduate of the University of Wyoming College of Law and College of Education. I taught special education for 5 years before becoming an attorney. I became a licensed acupuncturist in 2002. I'm currently licensed as an attorney and I'm semi-retired. Serving as a member of the School Board of Trustees is the most important public service I can provide to my community. I will advocate for funding from all sources to be sure that our district can recruit and retain the most qualified teachers and support staff, provide the best teacher-to-student ratio for all levels of ability, and protect the health and the safety of staff and students. I will give my time, expertise, and perspective that I have gained over 50 years of professional and personal experience. I respectfully would ask for your vote.
Thanks, Maureen. One thing I neglected to tell the folks on the stage and to tell you is when you have 15 seconds left, Sam's going to wave the orange flag, just to catch you all from the side of your eye. Okay, awesome. Jennifer, you're up next.
My name is Jennifer Butler. I'm a mother of 5 children. I come from a family of educators, and I moved to Lander 9 years ago, and we love living here. My children have been enrolled in our district for 8 years, and Lander schools have provided many great educational experiences in the classroom, outside of the classroom, through clubs, activities, events, sports. We love Lander and the opportunities it's provided our children. I'm invested in sustaining the best possible learning environment and opportunities for our students to grow and develop as individuals. I know that parents' voices are heard in our district to improve our school environment. I have seen the school district respond to my own voice through improvement in hygiene in the women's bathroom in the high school. I've seen them step up and provide a crossing guard for the school district after this accident and after I helped coordinate the Lander Walk With Me volunteers who provided the crosswalk duty in the interim between the accident and the time that the school district was able to hire an employee. I am currently a new bus driver for our district. We have a shortage of drivers, and while driving my own students to their activities at Beaver Creek with the middle school ski team, I discovered that if I could drive my own kid, I could drive a bus and take the community with me. And so that was my goal, and I have worked on it, and I have successfully become a licensed bus driver for our community and have started to fill in substitute areas. I love Lander, and I am committed to doing what I can to help our students and our community thrive together and pull together for the benefit of our students. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Mike?
Mic and a microphone. You can hear me probably. My name is Mike McConnell. I'm the former ag teacher at Lander Valley High School. I retired a little over a year ago. This will be my second year away from the high school. I taught at the high school for 31 years. Started there right after I graduated from college. I felt very, very fortunate to have the career that I did in Lander, Wyoming, and am grateful that I had the opportunity to serve our community and our students as a classroom instructor. It's one of the great honors of my life to have had the opportunity to do that. As I worked with my students over the years, I always told them that service is one of the most important things that we have in our democracy, and that you have to be willing to take the time to be willing to serve and to help others and do the best job that we can do. So that's why I'm running for school board, because I think it's time to serve and to be able to help our community and to help our school district go from good to great. And I think that we can really do that. I believe in our schools. I believe in kids. I believe in young people. I think our schools are some of the best schools we have in the state of Wyoming. I've been in schools all over the state and other states around the region, and our school stacks up with any schools in the country and in the region. We're fortunate to have the school system that we do. We're fortunate to have the staff we do, both in the classroom. We're fortunate for our classified staff that we have that works with our kids. We're fortunate with the administration that we have in our schools, and I believe that they do an outstanding job. Can we do better? We have to do better, because that's what our country needs right now, and it's what our community needs right now too, is for us to all do just a little bit better. So I believe in those things. I believe in our community. As an ag teacher, a career technical education course, I taught everything from students that are currently doctors and students that are carpenters, and I think they should have the opportunity to learn in many different ways in our schools. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Ralph, you're up next.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ralph Inchy, and I'm running, no? Hello? Yes? Yes? Anybody? No? Hi? No? No.
Hand off.
Hey, Ralph.
We got this one's working. Set it down.
Well, you're doing a great job working together. Very impressed.
Yes. Yes, my name is Ralph Vinci. I'm running for the Lander School Board, and I want to say that there was a clerical error, and my information did not get printed in the voter guide, the Fremont County voter guide that went out, and I want to answer those questions and tell you a little bit about that. The first question was, what are the 2 attributes and qualifications that make you ready for this office? I want to create a vision for the Fremont 1 School District to set and maintain measurable goals in academics, testing, and emotional development, as well as enhance the positive aspects of the things that are going on in the Fremont County District, and improve the challenging aspects of things that are happening here in the district as well. I am going to look for more financial resources within the state for increased funding as we go about serving the needs of the Lander students. My understanding of school finance and budgets, my undergraduate degree is in business finance, so I have and formerly taught high school mathematics, so I am a numbers guy, and I understand budgets and spreadsheets and so on, and I want to use that to regularly monitor and maintain the fiscal and financial health of the Fremont County #1 school district. I know that my qualifications of over 18 years currently in education, as a school teacher in both regular education and special education, my experience as a special education director, an assistant school principal, and current school principal and program director at Sunrise School in Hudson. So I deal with at-risk students. I understand the challenges that they face, and I am there for the betterment of their high expectations that we can create for those students here in Lander. In addition, I also am a forefront for the Gifted and Talented program. You know, we can't forget about them, and to continue to enhance and make their school experience even greater. Again, I think that we need to serve every student within the school district, and I believe that that it's just possible with my experience in education and in finance that I can be and make positive contributions to the Lander School Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Karen, I'll give you a second to find a microphone.
Good evening, and I'd like to thank you all for coming out, and for those of you that will be listening online later. My name is Karen Harms, and I'm running for Fremont County School District Number 1 to support the students and staff. I started my career as a juvenile probation officer in the juvenile justice system of Fremont County. I loved my opportunity to work with students there, or work with young people there, but I quickly realized that education was the key to their success. Due to that, I pursued my master's degree in school counseling, and I'm now starting my 12th year in this field. I'm a huge advocate for children as well as education. The pressures of our world we now live in and the challenges our youth are facing are ones that we as adults are still trying to navigate. After attending the Tech Addicted World presentation last week, I am convinced now more than ever that we need to come together for our children in our community. Educators, parents, and the board need to unite, work as a team in the best interest of our entire school district. I am a good listener, capable of seeing multiple sides, and consider these when making decisions that affect others. I'm knowledgeable of the education process, and I understand the day-to-day functions of our school. The last 9 years I've served on the Child Development Services of Fremont County Board. This has been one of the most challenging of my career. But it has taught me more about myself professionally, as a public servant and a community member. My love for Fremont County School District, my love for Fremont County School District Number 1, the students and staff there, I would be honored to serve on the board of directors.
Thanks so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Tim, thanks for sitting next to Karen.
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Green. I know probably most of you in this room, but if I don't, I've taught in the Lander School District for 23 years. I've been a teacher for 35 years. I should say I was a teacher for 35 years. I retired in May. Not retired because then I went to work and doing something else, but I have a couple of points getting on the board, especially classified employees and livable wages and those kind of things. We came through a pandemic, and I taught through that pandemic for 2 years, believe it or not, without a mask. And, you know, we have kids who are about 2 years behind where they should be. We need reading instruction in the school at every level, and that's something I would really like to work at. And vocational education, because I have so many kids. I've been here 23 years, taught for 35, been in Lander for 23. So many years that, you know, we got kids that need vocational education. You know, not everybody's going to college. And I'm gonna be on the school board to make sure that we give those kids the benefit of getting where they're going, wherever it happens to be. I grew up in Lander. I've been here, born in 1963 in Lander, and I have the time to do it now. I have no children in school. I have no axes to grind. I got nothing else. But I would like to do something for the school system. See, I saw that pink sign over there. Yeah. So I hope you guys vote for me. Tim Green, man, he's a good man. He's been here forever. And there you go.
Thanks, Tim. We're bringing the mic back down this way to Todd.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to come and be able to see everybody. I see a lot of friends out there. There's an incredible amount of good people up here who are running, and that gives me confidence in our future to see the quality of people who are here and the desires and their ability to work and want to work and desire to help the kids. It is a wonderful thing. I moved to Lander in 1994. I'm an Air Force brat. I grew up in a family of 10 kids, second of 10, so I did a lot of babysitting and a lot of diaper changing throughout my life, and raised my kids here. The first time I came up after I met Brooke, who was, we met at college and she lived here, she dragged me back and I fell in love with Lander immediately. And it's been the best thing for me since. Had the opportunity to move back, and I've been a business owner here for the last almost 30 years. Known many, many people and have fallen in love not only with the place here, but also the people. We have wonderful, wonderful people of all stripes, of everything here, a wide variety and diversity of people, and they're just wonderful. So thank you very much for a wonderful 30 years for me. All 5 of my kids and my wife graduated and are products of the Lander School District. They're all very successful. They went to college and trade schools and are now having jobs out in the real world and being very successful. And I feel, if you were asked me why I want to do this, I just want to give back. There were many school districts while my kids were in school. There were many teachers, many facilitators and assistants out there who helped my kids find vision and help my kids in those things that as parents sometimes we can and can't do. So my job is just to help and assist. I'm a listener. I love information. I want to hear from all sides before I make any kind of decisions. And I love discussion and on a wide variety of all topics. So my door would always be open. And that's it.
Thanks, Doug. Sharon?
Hello, Lander friends. I see colleagues too, ex-students, folks I haven't met. Thanks to the League and County 10 and WYO Today for hosting this. Hope that you get a great glimpse of each of us and what we can bring. I'm Sharon Terhune, campaigning for one of 4 seats on the school board. I am very newly retired from a 37-year teaching career at the elementary school level, 30 of them in Lander at North Elementary School, 2 years in Jeffrey City Elementary School, and most recently at Gannett Peak Elementary School. I think having a teacher who's been in the trenches brings a wonderful perspective to the board. I want to continue to serve this learning community. It's important that Lander schools continue to ensure the best possible instruction and experiences to all of our students in a manner that guarantees everyone the safety, the protection, and the well-being we all deserve. Everyone. I will bring the spirit of a team player to the board. I have the time now and the willingness to do the homework that's necessary to be prepared for every board meeting. I will bring a reasonable nature of a person who has no axe to grind or political agenda to exploit. I need your support. I love your support. And let's have fun finding out who we all really are and what we can bring to this position. Thanks.
Thanks, Sharon. Jared, we'll pass the mic to you.
Good evening. Thanks to everyone that's here tonight. We all really appreciate your attendance and your interest. My name's Jared Kale, and this year I'm running for the exact same reason that I ran 4 years ago. And it's simple. I believe in kids. Well, we have great kids in this district. We really do. And I think that they deserve nothing less than the very best educational system that all of our elected officials can provide. I believe one of the board's primary jobs is holding the administrative teams accountable to deliver that system from the boardrooms to all of the classroom desktops. I believe the board must set high standards, Kids have this funny way of achieving whatever standards you set, and you set them high, there's nothing they can't achieve. And if you set them low, well, they'll reach those standards too. I believe that partisan politics and social experiments have no place in our classrooms. We need to make sure that we continue to teach academics and not try to indoctrinate our kids. I believe that parents are a key component of a child's educational success. We need to embrace parent involvement in the process, and we can never afford in our district to push them away. I believe the district must do a much better job teaching kids personal accountability, dependability, and discipline. While standards-based grading has some great qualities, student accountability is lacking in that system, and I think that we really need to address that issue. And I believe that a student's mental health and their personal safety are paramount to everything we do. That starts on the very first day of kindergarten, and it goes until the very last day of high school. Folks, we have seen way too many suicides and way too many school shootings in this country. We just cannot afford to let that happen on our watch. So if you believe in those things as well, I humbly ask for your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Thanks, Jared. Eileen, you've already got a mic, and you'll finish us off.
Hi, my name is Eileen Brew, and I believe that one of the greatest gifts and the most useful tools we can give all of our children is a strong education. And for me, a strong education is one that has challenging academics that meet our students and push them forward. It's one that gives them good life skills and habits. It's one that has daily encounters with outstanding educators who we support both in their personal classroom work and in their professional development. And it's a school environment that makes our students feel safe and welcome and valued, and also lets them have a little fun. I think we achieve this by having a clear long-term vision as a district that lines out the goals we want to meet and has clear metrics for how we will meet them. It's also one that has careful budgeting that prioritizes our classroom needs and our teacher needs. And it's one where we all can constantly evaluate our performance and see what we can do to improve. This requires a high level of communication at all levels, and also a higher level of transparency. So you and I all understand what decisions are being made and how and why, and what the outcomes will be. I've spent my personal career as a physical therapist building relationships. I do it every day, all day long, with individuals and groups. And I work for creative solutions to pretty challenging problems. And I would really love the chance to bring that skill set to Fremont County School District number 1. My 2 daughters, one of whom is still a student and one has just graduated, have had a really amazing 13-year journey through this district. And I'd like a seat at the table to make sure that all of our families and kids into the future have those same chances. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks, Eileen. Okay, we just heard a little bit from all the candidates, and now we're going to move into the section of 3 rounds. Once again, the group has been divided in half randomly. So in the first round, half of them, 5 of them will get 1 question, 5 of them will get another question. And we're mixing up the groups, and we'll do that 2 more times. I'll read the questions and then call on the people who need to answer them. We've got 2 working mics, obviously. Let's say the 5 of y'all, Eileen to Karen, you all have 1 mic, and Jared to Ralph, you all have another mic. That seems self-evident, but let me just say that out loud. Do you all have any questions before I pose the first question? Okay, awesome. Our first question is, what are the attributes of a successful superintendent? Let me say that again. What are the attributes of a successful superintendent? And Mike, you're kicking us off.
Lucky me. Attributes of a successful superintendent of instruction for our school district. One, of course, is as a superintendent, you are responsible for leading the entire district, which is a large task. Also, you're charged with doing what the Board of Education sets down in terms of organizational decision-making and the directives that are put towards the superintendent. The superintendent also has to be able to provide adequate information to the board to help make good decisions for the rest of our district. So you have to be a decision maker. You have to be able to absorb information, take it in, analyze it, share it with your people, and lead our school in a direction that matters.
Thanks, Mike. Ralph, I'll pass the mic to you, and you have a minute to answer that question after you get the microphone. Your minute does not begin now.
Thank you. I believe the attributes of a superintendent would be that of communication, being able to communicate with parents, with students, and a district full of staff. They need to be knowledgeable about finance because of the financial aspects of running the school district. They need to be knowledgeable within human resources in that respect as well. All hirings and firings I know go through the district superintendent. Also, the other thing is that I look to the superintendent, in essence, as currently being a school principal of a single school. The superintendent can be considered the principal of all of the district schools. Therefore, it's a large responsibility and the ability to form relationships within all staff in that respect. So again, it's a very wide range of being in charge or responsible for numerous schools, similarly to that of being a principal of a single school. Thank you.
Thanks, Ralph. Maureen?
I think a superintendent.
Oh, Maureen, I'm going to pause you. We'll turn the mic on.
Excuse me?
There you go. I just wanted to make sure your mic was on.
Thank you. A superintendent, the attributes of a good superintendent are the same attributes we have as good parents, as good workers. We can listen, we can take in information, we can go and look for more information than what's just been given to us and take a broad view of what needs to be done. You have to listen carefully to what people are asking for. You can identify the needs of teachers, you can identify the needs of students, you can identify the needs of parents, but sometimes the superintendent's job is to listen to all of those people and negotiate solutions for problems that people have very different ideas about what needs to be done. The superintendent has the responsibility under the policies of our school board to bring issues to the board, issues that are brought to them by parents, by teachers, by anyone. And the job of the superintendent is to move education forward, to look to the future. What do we need 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? No matter what their tenure is, they have to look down the road to meet the needs of children that will be going into school 5 years from the date of their birth.
Thanks, Maureen. Karen, can we move the mic to you?
Thank you. The attributes for a superintendent would be to lead by example. I believe that they need to use the strengths and celebrate the strengths of their staff in order to meet the needs of the students, and to be aware of the needs of our students constantly, as that's an ever-changing thing in this ever-changing world, being on the cusp of what's happening and what our students need and what our staff needs. Just like somebody mentioned the parent, they're also the parent of the staff, and our staff is very important to be taking care of them so that they in turn can take care of our children and provide the best education that they can to them. They need to be really the source of what is really going on in the district. They're to communicate with the parents, the staff, and the board in respectful, open communication for the best interest of everyone. Thank you.
Sharon?
Test.
I have a working mic. Sharon, you're up.
Thank you. I look to a superintendent to be especially intelligent. I look to them to have leadership qualities. I look to them to have and share a vision for the district's learning. But more than anything else, I look to a superintendent to be an over-the-top engager with the community.
Thanks, Sharon. Okay, we're going to move to the other half of the group, and our second question, which I'll say twice, is how would you approach staff retention? Again, that's how would you approach staff retention? And as the mic moves, Jared, will you kick us off?
If I can make sure that it takes a long time to get the mic here, I can think through my response. I'll tell you what, we've got a real problem with teacher shortage in this country. Right now, it's not just a Fremont County problem, it's a national problem. The Economic Policy Institute estimates a nationwide shortfall of 300,000 teachers by 2024. That said, that on the board this year, we looked at our exit numbers recently, and they were high, but they weren't quite the highest we've ever seen. They certainly weren't outliers. What is different is that in our candidates, we just aren't seeing deep piles of resumes anymore, and that's concerning. So we have a little bit of time to address the factors because of that lag. But the real question to me is, what are those factors? Frankly, we don't really know. I've spoken with several teachers that left recently. They did not get their exit interviews. I think as a district, we have to do a better job at understanding why our teachers are leaving before we can figure out how to address the teacher shortage problem in our district, or for that matter, nationwide.
Thanks, Jared. Jennifer, can we pass the mic to you?
So the Pew Research Center reported in 2021 that the top 3 reasons people left their jobs were low pay, lack of advancement opportunities, and feeling disrespected at work. So that was where I would focus for our retention opportunities for our teachers. How is the respect climate for our staff and our faculty within our district? We can do that through exit interviews. I've heard that there are climate surveys that we can take to address the feelings and the attitudes within our district. I would like to be more informed about what advancement opportunities and educational opportunities our faculty members have to be more proficient in their jobs, and then discuss wages and how that fits. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Eileen?
Well, I think the place to start is communication with staff and teachers about what their needs are and what needs aren't being met. And then looking at our budget very critically and making sure that our salaries and benefits are keeping pace with other districts and other states, which I'm sure has been a big part of Mr. Sweeney's work. But I think that first point about communication is really where it needs to start. It's like, why won't people stay, and how can we keep people within the district? And then following up on Mr. Kale's comments, there are some incredibly creative solutions being used across the country to both retain staff and also to boost and build more local staff by creating opportunities for paraprofessionals and other people within the community. So part of that, exploring those options, should be part of our tactics as well.
Thank you, Eileen. Todd, if you can get the mic.
I think teaching is a very difficult job. Day in and day out, having to come up with lesson plan, dealing with the issues of each individual child, teaching to each individual child. And it's one of those jobs that, yes, you have your rewards, but there's a lot of heartache with it. You know, in my job, I'm a dentist. Everyone comes in almost every time and says the same thing: I hate being here and I hate you. And the reality is, you know, most of the times it doesn't hurt, but the reality is sometimes you're just going, oh, why am I doing this? And I imagine the same thing happens with the teachers. There's good days, there's bad days. As I have about 12, 13 employees up underneath me. And as I've dealt with employees for the last 30 years, essentially, if they feel like they're a part of a solution, then they stay. If they feel integral, they stay. And if they have good pay, they stay. Otherwise, if they can have great pay and not feel part of it and they're gone, or they can have bad pay and feel part of it and they're gone. But all of it has to be addressed.
Thanks, Todd. I'm sorry to say I also really hate the dentist. But you seem like a nice human. Tim, can you take us home?
I'm up. I'm up. There you go. Okay. So as far as retaining teachers, in the last 6 years I was at the middle school, I think there were 3 teachers who came out of college. That was it. 3 teachers in 6 years. People just aren't coming out of college anymore with a degree in education. They don't want to do it. Stuff to do. I think a really good thing that the school board could do is that if we get young teachers, whether they're fresh out of college or first or second year teachers, we get them a mentor teacher and we make sure that that mentor teacher stays with that person through the school. Because if you don't, you're going to lose them. It's, back in the old days, 35 years ago, you lost teachers because you just threw them to the wolves, or they either made it or they didn't. So, but I think we need a mentor teacher program. I really do. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, we're going to reshuffle folks, put them in two different groups, and again, each group will get a question. When we're done with this, we're going to collect any questions that you have. So if you've got an index card and you've got a question, somebody will walk up and down through the aisle and collect any questions you want posed to the candidates. So this is your a few minute warning. Okay, all right, first question, and again, I'll read it twice. Do you support the recent change to the district's non-discrimination policy where protected classes were removed, including sexual orientation, gender identity, veteran status, marital status, and pregnancy? Why or why not? Let me repeat. Do you support the recent change to the district's non-discrimination policy where protected classes were removed, including sexual orientation, gender identity, veteran status, marital status, and pregnancy? Why or why not? And Maureen, you're kicking us off with this question.
I think that it's a difficult question for me to answer because I wasn't on the board and part of the decision-making either when the original provisions of the policies were adopted that included those expanded specific areas or when they removed those. What I will say is that when you create and clearly communicate that people are fitting within a category, that we have to be sensitive to that. And when you take that away, it takes away something that is important to those individuals. I think that looking at combining both the teachers, the staff, and the students in one category, we were trying to look at human beings and say, these are things we need to be aware of. And so I believe that that was not a proper thing.
Thanks, Maureen. Jennifer?
My understanding of the discrimination policy being changed was to align it with what the state has mandated and laid out, and so now our policy aligns with the state statutes and policies on discrimination. So for those reasons, I do understand, and I support the decision the board made to make that decision. I also saw the hurt and the heartache that our students and staff and faculty are dealing with, and I do believe that that needs to be addressed, and we need to reaffirm and assure that all students are heard and that discrimination for all people is not tolerated within our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Jared?
Thank you for the question. It's an important question. I think changes that were made, what's really important to understand is that they did not change legal protections in the district by one bit, not one bit. By calling subcategories out that are already covered in elsewhere in that same policy, it really serves as political posturing at the policy level. Honestly, I don't think policy is where political posturing is appropriate. Kids are already covered under existing bullying and harassment policies, as are adults, which the board takes very seriously and demands that the district does as well. I think it's important to note that all kids are welcome at Fremont County School District Number 1, and they should feel safe in our district. The changes were made solely to align with the Wyoming State Statute, Wyoming Department of Education, and the U.S. Department of Education policies to follow them precisely. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Let's pass the mic to Ralph.
Thank you. I concur with what Mr. Kale just said. I was at that meeting when those changes were made, and I know that this recent Supreme Court decision guarantees those rights. As Mr. Kale stated, there was nothing taken away from any protected group under the Wyoming State Constitution. These things also match federal mandates as well. So again, because it wasn't specifically listed, the Supreme Court has solved and made that decision that covers everything under that policy. So again, no rights were removed under that change. Therefore, at the same time, discrimination should never happen about any student within the Lander School District or any district in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Tim?
That'd be me, right? Thank you. On this question is kind of hits home with me because I have a son who's gay. He's 28 now, 29, and he went through the school district and he had some really hard times. But my point being, this is a non-partisan board. It's not paid. We're here for the benefit of all children. So when political issues come up, and they do, and I hate this, when people come up and try to shout you down about something, they have a subject to talk about. This is one of them. And I got you 15 seconds. And it shouldn't be in front of the school board. When it comes out of the Supreme Court or out of federal law, then we can address it, or out of state law, but it shouldn't be here.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our second question of this round. Per usual, I'll read it twice. It is, do you support staff carrying concealed weapons in schools? Why or why not? Again, do you support staff carrying concealed weapons in schools? Why or why not? And Todd, you get to start us off.
Long and short of it is absolutely. And the reason for that, and I like the way the statute has been, is that if I were in a situation where I could do some good and some help and had the training to do so, I would like to be free to be able to use that training as needed and as it happens. I do like how those who are going to volunteer to do that are screened, as well as have specific training for that. So it's not just someone just going out saying, hey, I like to carry, I think I will. So I appreciate the care, and I appreciate the method in which it is being done and being enacted.
Thank you, Todd. Eileen?
Well, I guess the long and short of it is that I do not. I believe it's a huge responsibility for someone to carry a weapon. I happen to have a husband who was a former police officer, and I saw firsthand the amount of training that he had to go through to deal with force and conflict and to use his weapon and carry a weapon. And I believe that the role of our educators and our staff should be focused elsewhere. That said, I've had interesting conversations with friends in this community who have assured me that civilians out there do exist who have the specific skills and training to do this. At this point, we rely on this policy to make sure that people are adequately trained, because again, I think that's an enormous responsibility.
Thank you, Eileen. Mike?
Yes. And not saying yes easily. As a classroom instructor and as a teacher in a public school, when we have to practice and we have to train ourselves on how are we going to respond if we have an active shooter in our school is stressful. Now, do I think people should be highly trained and know what they're doing, have opportunity to practice and make sure they're working with the correct people that train them on how to think and how to react and how to respond? Yes, definitely. They have to know what they're doing. They have to know how to handle their firearm correctly. Now, at the same time, a teacher's wired to love kids, okay? And we're also wired to protect our kids. I can't imagine what it would be like as a teacher if you did have to fire and stop somebody from killing other students. It would be difficult, but it would still be needed because we have to protect our kids, period.
Thank you, Mike. Sharon?
I definitely don't support the idea of staff carrying concealed weapons in the building. Listen, I was in those buildings. I was on crosswalk duty every day. I thought about this all the time. It doesn't make logistical sense. Can you imagine if a second grade teacher is carrying a gun and in another hallway there's a school shooting? Think about that second grade teacher. That person has to leave the classroom with a gun, go toward the shooting. What's going to protect them from shooting someone unintended? It doesn't make sense. I think it makes people feel like maybe we're solving the problem by having guns in the building. It doesn't solve the problem.
Thank you, Sharon. Karen?
Okay. The safety of our students is the main concern of this. We all are very passionate about it. It's our biggest fear as parents, as school teachers, as administrators. And I believe that we need to have people that is their only job if they're carrying a concealed weapon in our school. They need to have the training. That needs to be their only focus, is our school safety and keeping our buildings safe. That being said, they need to be highly trained, and our teachers are already overwhelmed. Our staff has a million different jobs they're doing and going in a million different directions in one day. And you put a gun in the hands of a high school teacher and they're outnumbered in that room. It would take 1 second for them to be unarmed. That's a huge concern for me, and I would like our community to work in a better effort with law enforcement and maybe have some kind of a community support system with retired law enforcement or military officials to come in and help us have a safer campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, team, if you all have questions, Maggie's walking through the aisles. Feel free to hand her any questions you have. We'll move on to this third round, and then we'll pose some of your questions. Okay, we've reshuffled the deck again. Here's the first question of the third round. Our school's motto is every student, every day. How will you help support our schools in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion? Let me read that one more time. Our school's motto is every student, every day. How would you help support our schools in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion? And Tim, you get to kick us off.
Okay. Every school or every student every day. You know, I taught kids for a lot of years, and I got to tell you, every student every day is the last reason I ever quit teaching school. Every student every day means that every kid that comes into that building, they should be safe, they should be fed, they should have their education every day, and it should be secured every day. As a school board member, I would say I'm coming back to your support staff. Man, you got bus drivers, you got paras, you got people out there that are looking out on those kids, so when the 8 o'clock bell rings, those kids are ready to go to school, they're ready for class. That's how you educate kids. You make damn sure that they're ready to go to school. I'm done.
Thanks, Tim. Pass the mic to Jennifer.
So our school district provides a lot of opportunities in diverse education for our students. I believe that the IEPs and the special ed educators are very involved in trying to fit the needs and the diverse needs of our students. We have excellent counselors to help meet the needs of our students. And I believe that as we continue to help our students learn to advocate for themselves, that they will also be their best line of defense on making sure that their needs are met for a diverse and equitable and included state of education within their life and throughout their education and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Maureen?
I think one of the things that we might overlook is that when we're trying to fund things, we want to have enough people there so that each child, no matter what their level of functioning is able to have the learning experiences and to move along. We, as the school board, have to advocate with the state legislature because they appropriate the money that then comes to the district based upon the students that we have here. We have to advocate with our own legislators. We have to talk to every group within the community to get support for the funding that is necessary, because without adequate staffing, without professional staffing, without committed people, you simply can't meet the needs of every child every day. And that is the commitment that this board and this district makes.
Thank you, Maureen. Ralph?
I believe that every student brings a wide range of gifts, talents, and experiences to the school district. I know that through student clubs, groups, and sports, they're able to work together to learn from each other in that respect. And I think as board members, we need to have those opportunities available for each of those students to succeed and be part of that equitable plan. It also goes into IEPs with at-risk students, but also cater to the gifted students as well. And sometimes I believe that the gifted students are sometimes left to be on their own because they are advanced academically and or emotionally. So I think having a wide range or vision of this, everybody should be included and inclusive within the district in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Karen, can we get you a mic?
Every student every day means that our teachers need to be prepared for this with their skill sets. Mr. Jacobson's been doing a great job bringing in information with our trauma-informed care. Our students are coming in a different way with the technology, with the drugs readily available that are a concern for their development, and their focus is not in the education system. So arming our teachers with more skills to deal with the adversity that we're facing to support the education process for all students. Just the awareness and then the mental support for our teachers, because it's overwhelming. There's a lot going on, and since COVID happened, we have students coming back. We've talked a lot about the educational process that they lost for 2 years, but we don't talk about the social skills they lost for 2 years. And we left online services to raise our kids, or not raise our kids, but at least get that interaction was only online, and it was very detrimental to their social development. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, here's the last of the 3 rounds of questions. The Wyoming Department of Education's mission and vision is to significantly increase the percentage of Wyoming students that are college, career, and military ready. By setting high expectations and providing diverse learning opportunities, the school district believes we will empower students to succeed in careers, college, and life. How will you ensure that the students in this school district are so prepared? And that is a long question, so I am going to read it another time, even more slowly. The Wyoming Department of Education's mission and vision is to significantly increase the percentage of Wyoming students that are college, career, and military ready. By setting high expectations and providing diverse learning opportunities, the school district believes we will empower students to succeed in careers, college, and life. How will you ensure that the students in this school district are so prepared? Eileen, you get to kick us off.
Well, I think we already have some excellent tools in the district that help us look at our student preparation, one being the district scorecard, which is a new tool that the current board has created for looking at outcomes and looking at objective measurements for our students currently. The other thing that might be a helpful tool for all of us in the future will be the profile of a graduate, which is another project that the Wyoming Department of Education has been working on with input from stakeholders across the state. But I think we really need to continue to focus on the things that we're doing well, and we need to look at ways to measure objectively where our students go and how well they are prepared. And one thing that I could envision doing would be to start trying to track our graduates with postgraduate surveys and other documents like that that would maybe give us a little more concrete examples and ideas.
Thanks, Eileen. Mike?
College, career, and military experience, or military ready. Wyoming Department of Education. I've been to 1,000 of these meetings as a career technical education instructor, and they're always interesting. Career, college, and military ready for what that student chooses to do. Sounds like life after high school, right? And it's our job to make sure that our students are prepared, and they have a basic good set of working skills and abilities to be able to perform the task at hand. If they want to go to college, I think a student should be prepared to go to college. If a student says, there might be a 4.0 kid in our high school that says, you know what, I'm going to be an electrician. The trade's great. Trades make good money. Look at our town. Look at how many people that we all know work in the area of the trades, and they employ 10, 12 people or more. So getting them college and career ready, let's get our kids excited about education and learning.
Thanks, Mike. Jared?
Sorry, Mike. Well, I'll tell you, I think Eileen really knocked this one out of the park. I would agree with everything she said on this issue. I think a little while ago when we started looking at revamping our scorecard, the first thing we did as a board was try to look at the state's profile of graduate. They spent a tremendous amount of time putting together all of the attributes that represent academics, career, community, and life. And instead of reinventing the wheel, we took those attributes and built our scorecard around them. So I think that's really important, and I think Eileen's right. But on another note, one of the things that I think is really important is making sure that our kids are able to have a sense of own self-discipline. And I hate to go back to it, but I do think, again, while our grading system has some great qualities, I worry that we are not giving our kids those kinds of discipline issues, those kinds of qualities necessary for them to be successful in community life, career, and academics.
Thank you, Jared. Sharon?
I concur with Mike, who said it sounds like adult readiness. I think we keep to the district strategic plan. I think we use the profile of graduate. And I think we shift, I don't think it's enough to advertise for teachers. I'd like to look at recruiting teachers. We need the best instruction possible. And I also think that the district has made a huge leap in, at the very beginning elementary level, finally teaching students to read in the way that the brain wants to learn to read. And if we stay on that path, it will raise everyone's readiness for college, career, or military.
Thank you, Sharon. Todd?
Thank you very much. It sounds like we all have the same vision of what we want our kids to be. We want them to be functional adults in a society that requires a lot from them. You can't go from a study area where not much is required of you, and then into a job where a lot is required of you and expect to be able to be functioning straight off the bat. As an employer in this town, I have a concern about standard-based grading, because being able to take a test several times in order to finally pass it is very contrary to what I require of my staff and myself. Can you imagine if I came up and said, you know, haven't really studied on how to do this root canal, but I've got 3 or 4 times to take it, and how you would feel about that? I have to get it right the first time, every time. And it's stressful, and it's stressful for everybody involved. I require a staff that gets it right the first time. Because if it's their mistake while I'm working, it's still my mistake. Everything my staff does reflects on me. So as a result, I have an issue with this evidence-based grading, well, not evidence-based, standard-based grading, where there seems to be no deadline. We have teachers who are grading not only the current class, but 3 classes behind them, and that's a huge amount of paperwork for them. So that's one of the things, I don't know much about it other than the whole idea of it, and that's all.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, we're gonna move to the lightning round. And a reminder about how this works for everybody. I'm gonna give each candidate 1 word, and they're gonna have 15 seconds to respond to that word. You can again say 1 word or as many words as you want that will fill 15 seconds. Because you've gotten this orange flag at 15 seconds, it seems silly for us to raise it now. So how about we'll do it when they have 5 seconds left, okay? New plan? I'll call your name and then I'll give you the word and we'll make our way through this round. Any questions for me before we start, except for the fact that Tim's gonna go first and wants the mic?
Picking on the old guys first. Yeah, there you go.
It's a random selection. I have more great.
All right.
Okay, all right. Tim, you're first, and your word is diversity.
Diversity, you know, we live in Lander, we have the reservation, we have Lander, and I've grown up here and I know what diversity is.
Thanks, Tim. Mike, your word is mental health. Your words are mental health.
My words are mental health. There's a lot of students that would argue that. Mental health, you've got to take care of yourself. You have to take care of other people, being kind, respectful, treating people with dignity and respect, and being good human beings.
Thanks, Mike. Jennifer, your word is collaboration.
Collaboration, that's listening to one another, learning from one another, asking questions when you don't understand, and being willing to listen to both sides of the viewpoint so that you can make the best decisions possible. Collaboration is a teamwork.
Thanks, Jennifer. Jared, your words are trauma-informed practices.
Not everyone's experience is the same. It's really important that we step back when a kid is having trouble and look at why they're having trouble, not just that they are in trouble.
Thanks, Jared. Karen, your words are safe to tell.
Safe to Tell is an anonymous program that the state of Wyoming started. I believe our school district uses it very well. There's a lot of information. I know it saved the life of a young man when I was working for Fremont County School number 1. It's imperative, especially with everything that we have going on in our children's world, that they have a safe place to talk.
Thank you, Karen. Maureen, your words are basket of goods.
Well, basket of goods is what the legislature looks at and says what they're going to fund. And the Wyoming Supreme Court in 3 separate decisions has talked about the fact that that basket of goods needs to be equal and needs to be high quality for every student.
Thank you, Maureen. All right, let's pass the mic to Ralph. Ralph, your words are social emotional learning.
Social emotional learning, the ability to handle every aspect of the child's education. Sometimes when a child comes to school and they're not in a good emotional state, it's not a question of learning about academics, it's about solving the child's needs at that immediate time for success.
Thank you, Ralph. Sharon, your words are executive function.
For a student to be able to be in the moment and understand what's being presented and what they need to do, their brain needs to be functioning in a way that allows them to move through that process.
Thanks, Sharon. Eileen, your words are extracurricular activities.
Well, I think current studies, and we know as parents, but current studies shows that children who participate in sports and after-school activities, whatever they may be, typically have better social well-being at school and better grades, better outcomes, and higher graduation rates.
Thanks, Eileen. And Todd, your word is bullying.
I think bullying is becoming a part of our culture, which it shouldn't be, and that it destroys individuals and lives. Having grown up being bullied, being in the Air Force, I went to 3 different high schools, 3 different junior highs. The new guy always gets it, so I'm very much against it and should be corrected.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, that was round 1 of lightning rounds. We're going to do it again in a different order. Sharon, you're going to start us off and make certain you have a mic. Okay, Sharon, your word is discrimination.
I want to get on the record in saying that I would not have approved taking those words out of the discrimination policy. I want every person to feel like not only we have to protect them, but that we want to protect them.
Thanks, Sharon. Eileen, your words are standards-based grading.
Standards-based grading. So this is a grading system that's widely used and successfully used across the country. I think the dilemma comes sometimes in how it's particularly implemented, and I think we can make some improvements in implementation in our district.
Thank you, Eileen. Mike, you're up next. Your words are portrait of a graduate.
Portrait of a graduate. They're expensive. The pictures are. Portrait of a graduate. If we're going to identify what we think a graduate should look like and what they should be able to do, they should have their fundamental skills at a certain level where they're able to be competent and proficient at that fundamental set of skills. Now, in my opinion, I think that when we go above and beyond that, we have colleges and junior colleges where kids can do that, but our first and foremost thing for that profile of a graduate is to meet the fundamental skills.
And take their pictures.
And take their pictures.
Maureen, your words are student, teacher, parent, triangle.
Well, a triangle is perfectly balanced. And for a triangle to make a beautiful sound, you have to have strength in all 3 of those factors. That's what education does for all of us. That's what communication does.
Thank you, Maureen. Jennifer, Your words are lights on.
Lights On is an after-school program where we take our students for parents who are working, and they are educated beyond school. They have lots of activities, and they have a ton of fun in the summertime.
Thanks, Jennifer. Ralph, you're up next. Let's get you a mic. Your word is transparency.
Transparency. If elected to the school board, I would be completely transparent on my views and thoughts on any issue that came before us, and know that I'll be true to my moral foundation.
Thank you, Ralph. All right, we're passing the mic to Jared. This whole thing is an exercise in teamwork, and they're doing a nice job. I just want to point that out. Okay.
I'm ready, I think.
Jared, your word is censorship.
Censorship. Censorship's a difficult one. It's one of those things like the Supreme Court when they said that you define pornography when you know it. I certainly am not in favor of censorship of any kind, but I also think we need to be sensitive about what is appropriate, age appropriate for our kids to learn and understand and by which to grow. Age inappropriate materials just don't have any business in being in our schools.
Thanks, Jared. Tim?
I wanted his word.
Okay.
Okay.
You've got that 1 minute closing statement.
Okay.
You're welcome to take his word
All
then.
right.
Okay. All right, Tim, your words are alternative learning.
Alternative learning, I love alternative learning. That's why when I put on my thing, vocational education, people think, well, that's alternative learning anymore. It's not. We need to be teaching plumbers and carpenters and those kind of things. That's not alternative learning. Alternative learning is good because not all kids learn the same.
Thanks, Tim. Todd, your word is accountability.
Accountability is a part of life. If you don't learn how to take it and you don't accept it, then there's no way you can succeed. And one of the deals of teaching, and one of the most effective ways of teaching kids is giving them constant accountability so they're 100% responsible for what they do, and thereby they can learn.
Thanks, Todd. Karen, you have the last word, and it's equity.
Equity is that everybody has an opportunity to learn at their level. Whether they come in the door with ready to learn, or they come in the door and need a little time, they need breakfast, we make sure that we meet them where they're at, is equity.
Thank you all so much. I'm going to pause for just a second while I get my audience questions. The feedback is you all asked awesome questions, and that we would be here for hours if we were going to ask these folks all of your questions. So I'll give you a friendly reminder that after this, there are light refreshments in the lobby where you can meet folks and follow up with them individually. I'm going to take just a second to look through these questions. I'm actually going to take 30 seconds, maybe 45, to look through these questions, and then I will pose them to you all. An excellent job not turning the lightning round into a spelling bee. Really proud of you. Okay, give me 30 seconds. Just the questions I was handed were excellent, so let me underscore that one more time. Okay, we took 2 from these 5 and I'm just randomly picking which group gets which. We're again back at the place where I'll ask 5 of you the same question. You'll have a minute to respond. Sam will raise the lovely orange flag when you have 15 seconds left, and then we'll ask the other 5 of you the other question. Okay. First question, and Mike, you're kicking us off for this one. If you found out there was to be a family-friendly drag queen story hour in the school library, would you be supportive? And I'll read it again. If you found out there was to be a family-friendly drag queen story hour in the school library, would you be supportive?
No. I don't believe that's the right place for that to occur in a school.
Thanks, Mike. We're going to pass the microphone to Ralph.
I would concur with Mike and absolutely no. There is not a place for that in any public school, and it's just not part of what the high school curriculum should include at any age in that respect.
Thanks, Ralph. Todd?
I'd agree with that. I would be against that. I agree with those others, in that the school has its limits on what it should be teaching and should be showing to our kids. Part of diversity of thought is respect of all. And yet, at that point, if they want to go downtown and have it, that's fine, but on school property, no.
Thanks, Todd. Tim?
No, absolutely not. Period.
Thanks, Tim. Maureen?
I agree that the school library is not a proper forum, but I also agree that if it is a child who is going downtown, then I would support whatever that person's choice is. It's just not part of the library program.
Thank you, Maureen. All right, second group, you have a different question, and again, I'll read it twice. If budget cuts were necessary, as a school board member, where would you look to make those, and are there areas you would not consider cutting? Again, if budget cuts were necessary, as a school board member, where would you look to make those cuts, and are there areas you would not consider cutting? You want to start us off, Jennifer?
So budget cuts are going to be a tough one, and I only have the tip of the iceberg on how the school funding model with the state and with our business manager function, and it's like drinking from a fire hose, but I'm trying to get it down. So budget cuts, I'd start with the crew report and just assess how we're doing according to our state funding model. I'd also look at any extra expenses that we had. I know our school board talked about the dues that we're paying for an organization. I would like to know how many more dues we're paying and if those are still serving our school district. Would I cut something? I can't say that for now. I do not have enough information to say what I would or would not cut. I need more information, and I'm willing to look for it and work for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sharon?
I would look for more information also. I would ask our business manager to present the budget to us and walk us through it. I don't think there are any areas I wouldn't look to cut, and I think I would start with asking building administrators to look at their buildings and see what kind of extra money they can find.
Thanks, Sharon. Let's pass the mic to Jared.
Well, this is a tough question because we face the very real possibility of this happening depending on what happens with our mineral extraction. taxes. The first thing is, I think if the school board is making a determination about what should be cut and not cut, something is wrong. We need to rely on the administrators of our buildings and the staff to make those determinations. That's really not the job, which is way too far into the weeds for the school boards to be making those calls. We need to work with the administrators and have them make those calls. Second, everything must be on the table. Everything. When we faced the realization that this may happen a couple years ago, we went to the administration and said, look, nothing can be off the table in this case. Whether we're talking about school closures or bus routes or this pool or cutting teachers, cutting programs, cutting administration staff, paras, everything has to be on the table when we get to that point.
Thank you, Jared. Karen?
I would start looking at budget cuts in the area of extracurricular activities. I know that the district has already started doing that with overnight trips for our athletes. They're doing more games and then coming home instead of paying expensive hotel costs, participating in fewer tournaments, but they still are getting to have those extracurricular activities. I believe that that could be maybe turned more into some fundraising ideas and community support from that. I would definitely be very leery to cut anything that impacts our students and their learning and the quality of their education. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Eileen?
Well, I agree with the others that I would need more information personally about what should be done in terms of details and regarding the budget. But the one thing I would say is that we also need to keep looking for other revenue sources, possibly in the form of grants or other available monies that we can pull in so that these situation would be a little less stark for us. I think everything has to be on the table, although secretly I would love to say maintain teacher salaries and benefits, because I think that's another critical sticking point for our district.
Thank you, Eileen. There's one more audience question that I think just requires a one-word answer from each of you. So I'm going to start down here at Ralph, and we'll go down to Eileen. We'll play the pass the microphone, but this time you'll all be in order, and so maybe that will help us. And I think it just requires a one-word answer. And this person wanted to know from all the candidates, how many school board meetings have you attended in the last year?
I can honestly say that I have been to every school board meeting in the last year, live and in person.
I would say I've been anywhere from 6 to 8 school board meetings in the last year.
2.
I took last year off because I retired.
It feels like 1,000, but everyone. I don't think I missed any. I may have missed one.
I've attended 2 this last year.
School board meetings?
Sure, you have one.
0.
3.
More than 5, maybe less than 10, and I'm not sure how many I spoke up in.
5.
Thanks to the audience member for that question, too. Okay, we are in our final section. And as a reminder to you all on the stage, those of you in the audience and folks watching from their couches at home, this is your closing statement, 1 minute. We again have the lovely orange flag. Thanks for leaving us with some final words. And Eileen, you're going to kick us off.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks again, everyone, for being here tonight. I think this has been really useful, and it's been great to listen to my fellow candidates. I believe the school board is the bridge between our community and our schools. And it needs to be a group of people who are really committed, first and foremost, to our children. We need to be supportive as members of a school board. We need to be committed to finding good solutions that will benefit the greatest number of our students. We need to have high standards in our learning expectations and in the expectations we have for our students and our staff and teachers. But most of all, we really need to be able to communicate with each other and make sure that our community, this great community of Lander, is really trying to find the best way forward. I think this is a terrific district. I'm grateful that my daughters have had a chance to be educated here, and I think it could be even better, and I think a lot of these people will help make it that way. Hopefully me too. Thanks.
Thanks, Eileen. Karen?
Fremont County School District 1 has a very special place in my heart. I was practically raised at the gym over here and the track. Rode on school buses with my dad when he was coaching. He taught and coached her for 50 years alongside with Mr. Green's dad in the shop at the old school. So it was also my first opportunity to work as a school counselor. I was able to work with the students and staff here, and they all have a very special place in my heart, and I would like to be able to serve them in a way on the board that I wasn't able to as an employee. I believe that our board, we have our strength in diversity. I would like the opportunity to talk about issues and work through those adversities and come to conclusions where everybody's voice is heard and everybody has a chance to problem solve those issues. And please support me in this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Sharon, we'll get the mic to you.
Thank you for coming to this very intense evening. Hope you got a glimpse of each of us and what we might bring to this community. I remember when I began teaching, I thought I was ready, and I spent every minute before school, after school, and during school learning the craft. I think the same goes with becoming a board member. If elected, I promise that I will give you everything I have to learn how to be the best board member I can to serve you and our community. Thanks.
Thank you, Sharon. Jennifer?
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you for putting this event on. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to learn from the other candidates that are running. It's a good group of people up here, and it would be a privilege to serve on our school board. It would be a privilege to serve our community and to honor our students and our staff and faculty that work so hard for our future generations that are rising. Being on the board is not up to me, it's up to you, and I hope that whatever decisions you make, you are looking to create a team that will listen to one another, that will problem solve together, and that will respect one another's differences, just like we are asking that of our education system. We would like that from our board, and so the power is in you, and I would love to serve on our board, and I would commit to giving my all to our students and our community and our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Todd?
Thank you. One thing I've learned from this forum is that I am not on the school board, I'm going to be able to pass a mic. As I've gone through my education, I've learned that the more I know and the more I learn, the more I realize what I don't know. Everyone's experiences are different. Everyone's lives are different. And I'm a sponge for information. I love hearing all sides of an argument before a decision is made. Everyone's opinion is valuable to me. I grew up in a family of 10 kids. Half of them are very religious, half of them are in the LGBTQ community, and not half, because that would be 1.5. But the reality, and I'm at an education thing, holy cow. But the reality is I love them all, and I listen to them all, and I need to know from everyone. So for me, information and listening is everything. And if I'm on the board, then you will be heard and valued regardless.
Thanks, Todd. Mike?
When I began teaching, one of the things I always told myself was I was an educator by choice, not by chance. And I went into education with the idea and the hope that I'd be able to help shape and mold the future of America by teaching young people the best that I could possibly teach them. To teach them the facts, to teach them the truths, to teach them to think, to teach them to lead, to be able to participate. And I believe that as a classroom instructor, I was very fortunate and was able to deal with a lot of young men and women. Very proud of them all. At the same time, when I look at our families and my family, I'm proud of my family, my wife Angie, my son Mark, his wife Alicia, my daughter Kylie. Mark's back at home with us on the ranch, working full-time with us. We're grateful to have him there. He graduated from the University of Wyoming with a veterinary science degree and animal science. Daughter's about to graduate from the University of Wyoming with fisheries, wildlife biology. They're products of our school. And I'm proud of what they do. I'm proud of what all of our kids do. As a board member, it's my job, it's the board's job to represent you, the people that matter the most in our district, and for you to tell us what you want from our school district. It's our job to make that happen.
Thanks, Mike. Let's get the microphone to Ralph.
Thank you, folks. If elected to the school board, with that responsibility comes accountability. I know that I'm very supportive of parent rights and their influence on how things are done within the Fremont County School District. I'm in favor of local control and local decisions. And I also, as stated earlier, I've been to every school board meeting live and in person for the last year. In addition, I've been to every city council meeting live and in person for the last year. And I believe that the city council and my knowledge of the issues and concerns and the successes of the city definitely coincide with what's happening within our school district. I mentioned to the mayor, Monty Richardson, that I said, if elected, I hope that I can be part of the Lander team in working together to make the school district better for all. And what's most important here is that my tagline on my signs and my vision is that for students and families first. Nobody knows what's best for our kids in Lander, but everybody in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Jared, we're passing the mic to you.
And how many pages was the election pamphlet you guys built? 32 pages, and you guys are doing 7 forums? 8? Man, thank you guys for all the work you put in. That is pretty impressive. When I started the night off, I talked about that I believe in kids. For 4 years on the board, as well as 2 years as chair, I believed in the kids every single step of the way. And one way to believe in kids is to serve as a role model, an example. I've tried hard the entire time to ensure that any reaction that I've had with fellow board members or with the public is done out of respect. Respect, you know, it's a word in today's society that's really hard to come by. It really is. And if elected, I would continue to serve with respect for the public, for admin, for faculty, for staff, for parents, and most importantly for the students. They deserve nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Maureen?
I came to Lander in 1987 to serve as the superintendent of what was at that time called the state school. It's now the Life Resource Center. And to make changes for people who have the least voice in our society, but a great value. I started as a special education teacher, and after 5 years, I became a lawyer because I was committed to the idea of change, of standing up, of bringing things to the legislature, to the court, to the school board, to my family who wished I would stop sometimes, but I bring a special thing to the school district board of directors, and that is I am an attorney. I've heard both sides. I've defended both sides. I've prosecuted both sides. And I have 6 kids who are all very bright and who could always tell me what the other side was. I can listen, I can learn, I can lead, and that's why I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Maureen. Tim, let's get you the microphone for our final statement.
This is required, right?
I mean, you can take the spelling bee round if you want that.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out tonight. This is what you call democracy right here, and I love that, man. Everybody comes out and they listen. They're not shouting somebody else down. They're just listening to what 10 really cool people have to say tonight. So it doesn't matter who you vote for in November. You're going to vote for somebody really cool, really good, you know. So, yeah, I grew up in this town, and like Mike and Jared were talking about, you know, I'm a product of the Lander school systems, believe it or not, when I'm awake sometimes, like my brother Shane down there who fell asleep. But, you know, it's okay, you know. It's a great school system. I love it. School board, you know, I'm on it for, there are certain reasons I'm on it, not for, like, say, something for me, but there are certain reasons in there. And you should have a non-partisan school board. They should not have an edge on this side, on the left or on the right. And you shouldn't vote for somebody who's going to be there for 4 years. I don't know about Jared, but, you know, I mean, hell, I'm retired now, man. I can, you know, I'll be at every meeting. You know, but vote for somebody that you think's going to do a good job for our kids. Because I love my kids. That's not the reason I quit teaching. I love my kids, man. And they still love me. They come see me every day. So vote for somebody who you think's going to do a good job to keep those kids moving along, especially post-pandemic and all that kind of stuff. Because our kids are behind, guys. They're behind, believe it or not. So I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
Thank you, Tim. On behalf of the league, I want to thank each of you. It's really significant that you have raised your hands and said you're willing to serve this community on the school board. It's really humbling to hear the investment you have in this city, in this county, in this district, and in the students. I asked you to hold your applause previously, but let's give them a round of applause. A few pieces of information and friendly reminders. First, at the entrance table, there's a code for you to scan if you'd like to offer any feedback about how this forum went, or the voter guide, or anything, really anything you want to provide feedback on, and that's for y'all as well. As Jared said, echoing what Linda said, there are lots of forums. I'm not going to read you out the schedule because you can also find that online, and we hope to see you at those in the future. And there's snacks in the lobby. Who doesn't like snacks? So if you have a question that you didn't get answered by one of the candidates, or something you want to follow up with them about, we encourage you to find them after they have a chance to take a deep breath and remember their names, maybe go to the bathroom, and then they'll be excited to meet you and answer your questions. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. It's really great to have all of you here. Have a good night.